Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Face the News show, where we ask you to face the news. This show is coming to you every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for approximately 1 hour as we face the news from all around the world. Hi, my name is Dr. Lotus Riche, and I want you to welcome my co-host, the remarkable, the energetic, beautiful, and bodacious, none other than Mrs. Barbara H. Smith. Come on down, Barbara.
Hello, Dr. Lotus Roche. It's good to see you tonight. Young lady, you looking mighty marvelous today. Listen, I am excited about our show together called Face the News, where we're going around the world to give you the news that's where? In your backyard. Yes. And so today, we want to share with you what this show is about and how we're going to go about it. I am the person that's going to be pro on every issue and every conversation. And Dr. Lotus Roche is going to be the one who's...
I got the cons. I'm going to tell you like things that make you go, no.
And it's going to be hot and on fire. So without further ado, let us get started on our first part of the show. We're going to talk about business and talk about pay me my worth.
Pay me my worth.
Worth it. That first clip we're going to talk about comes from none other than
Viola Davis.
That's right.
And she talks about the disparity between Black actresses and white actresses in her field. As one of the leading actresses on the planet,
yes,
she makes a very powerful, compelling statement. And Mark is going to help us out with that one. Mark?
About gender inequality of pay, because a lot of the women who've stepped forward, and I stand in solidarity with them, okay? What they're getting paid, which is half of what a man is getting paid, well, we get probably a tenth of what a Caucasian woman gets. And I'm number one on the call sheet. And then I have to go in and I have to hustle for my worth. That's what I feel like I'm doing when I demand what I feel. Listen, I have more than a 30-year professional career.
So let's stop it right there. Let's stop it right there and get into it.
Well, she is absolutely right. Why should we, regardless of entertainment or business, why should we be paid less than a man? And then a quarter of what our white counterparts are getting paid. What do you say, Lotus?
Well, let me share some insight from some of the folks I spoke to on my side of the discussion. Many people say that, hey, this has been the way of the world when it comes to acting. White women and white men have been acting far longer than women of color, or even men of color for that fact. So because of how the payment structures were set up years ago, they still carry on. So folks have to kind of hush up and kind of press forward and make change, not make noise.
Listen, that was 19 and 20. This is 2021. What do you mean we should be paid the same, if not more, because we should be getting compensated for back pay because they haven't paid us what we worth all those years?
Well, all I can say is from my side of the argument, people feel like, look, this is going to take some time to change. And while many people want to change, they're saying on this side of the argument that it's going to take time, and Black actresses and actors have to continue to work hard to make the change happen.
Black actors, Black actresses, as well as other professionals in the occupations should be paid for what they do, not because they are of a certain persuasion, a color, a disability. They should be paid for the work if they're doing quality, not if, because they're doing quality, excellent work. They should be paid the same, if not more, like I said, because the industry would not be as rich as it is if it were not for the differences, the diversity that we have in this world.
Well, Barbara, let me tell you, on my side of the argument, my sources, and I'm on the hush, so I can't say their names, but my sources are saying this. Look, there's something called affirmative action that came out years ago. And guess what? It helped Black people get some of the same jobs, some of the same positions that our white counterparts have today and had then. And the pay has increased. What do you think about that, Barbara?
Some is the operative word right here, Dr. Lotus Riche. I beg to differ. People still, yes, those rules and laws are on the books. Yes, there have been some affirmative action movement moving the needle just a tad on the pay scale. But however, those laws and those acts are still provided by people who have to enact them. And if the people have the attitude of 1920 and 1910, that they're not going to allow other people that don't look like them get ahead, then those laws mean absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't know, because people are saying totally different things. But here's the thing. You shared your pro and I shared my con. What do you all think? Tell us in the comment block below, because we want to know. Maybe we'll bring your comment to the show. And just a reminder, although I am con and she is
pro,
the views that we're sharing are not necessarily our own.
That's correct.
We go out and we get information from every spectrum so we can give you the talk that people are talking about, but they don't want to talk about it in the open. And because we value the confidentiality of where we get our information, we are on the hush, but we're going to share it with you, but we're not going to tell you no names. Things that make you go, So, Barbara, what's next?
With that, we're going to talk about what's news in entertainment. Should white actors be playing roles as Black people by putting on dark makeup to darken their skin? What do you think?
That is something to say.
Ouch.
From my side of the conversation, some folks have their thoughts. And as soon as Mark lets us share this amazing video, we're going to get right into it. Mark?
A lot of white actors have portrayed people of color in films, and it's actually quite sad. Now, I will say this list includes some comedic films as well as some more serious films. Some actors actually used makeup to make the actor's skin darker, while others were portraying the lives of people of color, even though they're white. Today on Info Overload, we're counting down the top 10 white actors that played people of color in movies. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to I.O. I'm your host for this one, Jared Bronstein, and I'm sure this video is going to be a bit of a touchy subject.
Now, yeah, we know this thing is going to be a touchy subject. Should they be playing as white actors or Black actors? Well, what do you think, Barbara? And then I'll tell you what folks on my side of the conversation are saying.
Well, I think that as long as they're actors, it shouldn't matter whether they're Black or white. I think that they should not be playing, if you have just as an equipped actor or actress, they should not be playing a role as a Black person. All of these different people in the world that have the same ethnicity should play their own type roles. That's what I think.
Well, on my side of the discussion, the people that I've spoken with say this. They believe that if the thing is called acting, it's called acting for a reason. And so they should be able to act in any role they want, whether they're acting like Latino, Indian, Pakistani, or African American is their right.
But that's because there again, there's a disparity thing. They don't want to give roles to those people in other ethnicities because they're taking all of the roles. What does that mean? That means they're also taking all of the dollars, creating a financial disparity between themselves and those of us in different ethnicities who want roles that are have depth and have character and have complexity. But instead, they're giving those roles to white people, even if they are not white characters they're portraying. Not equitable at all, not fair at all, not right at all. What do you say?
Well, what I say is what I believe that many people believe may be what you believe. But on my side of the conversation, the folks that I know said they don't agree with what you just shared. What they believe is that it's every man and woman for their self. The acting field is a robust field which has given so many people opportunities to live their best life by doing something that they love, and that is acting. And first come, first serve. And it's not their fault that they're allowed to put on dark makeup and portray Black people, Latino people, or Pakistani people. This has been happening since the beginning of time, back in the 20s.
Before the 20s, but it still doesn't make it right, Dr. Lotus. It doesn't make it right because we have the same abilities, we have the same talents, and sometimes, most times, even more talent, skill, and ability than the person that's garnering the role, the person that's getting the role. And as an actor myself, I really don't appreciate other people taking roles that I could portray easily just by being in the right place and given the right opportunity. That's what it's about. We're not asking for a handout. We're not asking for a hand up. We're asking for the same opportunities as other people have. That's the point.
Things that make you go, no. What my folks are saying on this side of the conversation is that they're not taking nothing out of nobody's mouths, and it is not their fault they get the role if the other person doesn't, especially when they've got so many years in acting. Well, it's called acting for a reason. What are your thoughts? And are you on the pro side or are you on the con side? We want to know. Please put your comment in the comment block below. And so, Barbara, what's next conversation on the show?
The next conversation we want to get into is the abuse and neglect and exploitation of our elderly. And most of the time, we want to talk about the great things our people, caregivers, are giving, the great care that they're given. But many times, our elderly people are being abused by the very people, caregivers, who are supposed to protect them, look out for them, and make sure that they are well. So what I want to talk about is how do we keep our elderly people safe? Or not just elderly, anybody that's being cared for. It could be children. It could be mentally ill. It could be those who are not able to care for themselves. How do we keep them safe? And I say we keep them safe by monitoring, not just laws, but physical monitoring, having it be a requirement that not just elderly, but all people who are being cared for have some kind of cameras or technological advance that keeps them safe. What do you say, Lotus?
Well, first and foremost, I say, let's talk about what abuse is so that we clear this thing up before we even get started going down this road. Okay. Mark? So let's get into it. Abuse is the physical force that results in bodily injury, physical pain, or impairment. This includes hitting, biting, beating, pushing, I did say biting, shoving, shaking, and burning. You ever had somebody bite you? Boy, that's some darn abuse. Emotional abuse indicates the infliction of anguish, pain, or distress through verbal or nonverbal acts such as insults, threats, harassment, and humiliation, which Barbara is saying a lot of people in care facilities experience.
Right.
I say, how do you know? The folks on my side of the discussion are saying the numbers are inflated. It's not happening everywhere. So why is there a big discussion about this topic?
Well, I can tell you for a fact that elderly people, especially many of them who are in care facilities, are being abused. My father, for example, was in an elderly care facility. And when we went to see him, many times he would be laying in his own urine. Many times he hadn't eaten. Many times they hadn't given him water. And that's just one instance of abuse in a facility. I am sure those people, many people who are caring for elderly and children, and you hear it on the news all the time, Lotus. I don't know how you can say it's not happening, where children are being killed by people who are caring for them, abused, sexually abused, mentally abused by people who are caring for them. So how can you say it's not happening?
Well, all I can say is some of the folks on my side of the argument, or should I even say argument? Yeah, it's an argument because that's not right what you're saying. You got so many people, they say they go to work all the time, they taking care of all these people, and some people are mean to them. They throw their feces at them, they cuss at them, they spit on them. And so sometimes they feel like one slug deserves another.
Well, if you mistreated me, you might get some feces thrown on you. I'm telling you right now, because it's just not right to mistreat somebody who can't care for themselves. It's just not right.
Well, let me share this. On my side of the argument, my sources said, and I can't call their name because they don't want somebody to get after them. But we're going to get after this topic. And what my source said was this: if their families were there for them, they wouldn't be in these places anyway. So what's going on with the family? It's the family's fault.
Well, you know what? I almost can't disagree. Sometimes it is the family's fault. But however, it still doesn't negate the fact that people are abusing our elderly, our children, the disabled. There is no excuse for it. And they are going not to be landing in a good place because of the abuse. I'm telling you that this abuse is happening. There are many statistics that show how people are abusing other people for no reason at all, just for the pure meanness of it. And why people are so mean to other people, these are human beings, somebody else's children, somebody else's parent, somebody else's loved one. And why they got to be abused is beyond me, and I don't like it.
Well, you need to show some statistics, is what my side of the argument is saying. Show us some numbers, because our side of the argument wants to compare those digits. So maybe you can't show them right now, but on our next show, you better show it with the numbers, because I got my numbers and I'm ready to put them on the screen.
I got my numbers.
What do you guys think? Do you think that people are being abused? Do you think it's a myth? Do you say, nah, I don't believe it because I'm kind? Or do you think like Barbara, because she's
the pro at what I'm saying, and I know what I'm talking about?
Y'all, she ain't no pro at what she's saying, because I said I'm the kind. So that's great. So thank you so much for letting us share that part. But we got some inspiration. But before we go to the inspiration, we had another question to come in while we were right here on this live broadcast. And here's the question. The question was, you guys are talking about points, about all different kind of things. I want to know about Cuomo. Should Cuomo be leaving office? Don't all politicians flirt on a regular? Whoa! That's a loaded question. Barbara, what do you think?
Well, it goes back to abuse but maybe abuse of power. I believe that if you are caught in a compromising position, then you should be graceful enough to sit your behind down somewhere.
Well, my side of the argument says, look, if he ain't get caught, if she ain't get caught, well, what harm did it do? And then if they did something, don't wait 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95 years to come back and talk about it. What you hiding for? That's what the folks on my side of the discussion is saying.
See, here's the thing. It wasn't even acceptable for a woman or a man to come forward and say they were abused until recently. And so now it shouldn't have a statute of limitations on when you can come forward and say somebody abused you. And since this thing is in the news now, and since this is in the open, if the facts show proof that you had that situation, it should be addressed. And the person who is accused, when found guilty, should be dismissed or be graceful enough, conscious enough, considerate enough to, like I said before, take your hind parts and park it on a bench. Sounds well.
Let me tell you what my side of the argument told me. I'm not going to tell that you told me this. I ain't going to say your name, but I am going to say what you said. If a person is caught or not caught, why should they tell on themselves? Why should they give up their good job and their good benefits?
I understand why you might say that. Good benefits, good job, that, all that's good. But what about your soul? What about your conscience? What about, doing the right thing? This is the problem with our society today. Nobody wants to do the right thing. Not nobody. Some people don't want to do the right thing. They just want to get over to get over. And when you're getting over to get over on people, good things are not going to come to you. Whether you want to believe that or not, karma comes back. What you do in the dark is going to come to the light. What you do unto others will be done unto you. What goes around, Dr. Lotus Riche, will come back around and bite you right in the derriere.
Some folks don't care about the bite because they're focusing on the bucks. So they feel like, from my sources, I'm not going to tell on myself. Here's another thing. Let me go here. This is something that I got. I have children to think about.
Oh.
I have my elderly mother and father to think about, and ruining my family reputation is not up for discussion.
Your family reputation is already ruined because you're already behind the scenes doing stuff, you're doing nasty stuff you ain't supposed to be doing. What are you talking about?
Barbara, how you know they doing nasty stuff? They might not be doing no nasty stuff.
You just
they may just be doing something that somebody didn't like. And that's what my folks on my side of the argument is saying.
And that is a question for the people in the audience. What do you say? What do you say about this issue that we're talking about? Type it in the chat.
Type it in the chat.
So we can know the facts.
That's right. And we definitely want you to talk back. So here's another question. Really, this has been on my mind. Speaking of consciousness, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. What is up with Governor DeSantis and not wanting mask mandates or COVID vaccines in a state where there are spikes through the roof?
Through the roof. So that's our next segment. We're talking about medical inspiration.
Yeah. Well, guess what? This is what I heard it's about. It's all about the money. It's about the money, honey. So what do you think? Do you think that they should keep wearing masks or not?
Yes.
Let us know. What you mean, yes?
Yes, we should keep wearing masks. Let me tell you something. I just got back from Nairobi, Kenya. And everybody's talking about how the virus is raging everywhere around the world. But guess what? In Nairobi, there wasn't one person I saw without a mask. And the numbers in Kenya are nowhere near the numbers in the United States of America. So they have this idea that keeping the mask on will keep some of your germs to yourself. So let's put the mask on and keep your germs to yourself. And wash your hands.
Some folks feel that it's their right not to be all masked up. Some folks feel like they look like a bank robber going down the street or even coming into their own house. Yeah. And they feel like it is their right not to wear the mask as long as they know that they're healthy. What do you guys think about that?
You can be walking around with that disease and not even know it. You could be asymptomatic. Guess what? You do have a right. You have the right to die if you want. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that.
And you have the right to make a choice. Yes. What are you choosing? Because on the con side of the mask, con folks said, I want to do what I want to do.
That's just like y'all con people over there. That's why you call them the cons. They're always doing something contrary to what everybody else should be doing instead of wearing a mask and keeping the rest of us safe. I have elderly people in my house. I can't take the chance that somebody else is going to have this asymptomatic situation and then I contract it and then I bring it home to my elderly people. Plus, let's add this. Something that's normal, wash your hands, that's not normal for most people. I should say some people. Because if you just wash your hands a little longer or at all, because some of y'all ain't washing your hands at all, wash your hands a little longer and wear your mask, you cut down on a whole bunch of trouble for the rest of us. What you say, Dr. Lotus?
Well, I say, my side of the argument says the folks are saying this, and I'm not going to tell you who said it because I said it's on the hush. But here's what somebody said most recently. Masks are not helping us stay healthy. In fact, the carbon dioxide that I'm inhaling is making me sick.
That carbon dioxide is coming from their bad breath. They smelling their own bad breath, and that's what's making them sick. That's what's making them sick. I'm just saying.
I mean, this is what happens when you get the con and you get the
pro in the building.
What are you thinking? What side are you on when it comes to wearing the mask and why? So let's talk about this little tidbit. Should athletes be talking about their mental health like Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka? Should they be telling that on grandstand TV? Some people saying, you know what? Y'all could have kept that to yourself. And I like Miss Simone Biles. She's one of my favorites. But on my side of the issue, people are saying mental health, they don't want to talk about it openly. Barbara, what do you have to say?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. In all respect and honesty, you know, they put these super capes and superhero statues on athletes. And they want to know all their business until it's not something they want to hear, right? And so for me, I applaud both young ladies and any other person that speaks out about mental health. We've swept that under the rug long enough, and it's time for people to know they are human, and they have human emotions that sometimes causes them to almost crack. And instead of cracking, they say, listen, wait, hold up. I'm going to slow pump my brakes and let you know that I'm having a mental issue right now. And a mental issue does not mean you crazy. Let's stop all that foolishness right from the jump. It means that you may need to take a step back to gather yourself. She saw, Simone, I'm talking about right now, she saw a moment that she wasn't focused because her mind was doing some crazy stuff. She took the time to stop, drop, and roll herself back instead of injuring herself. Then what they would have said, she knew she was having a mental issue, then why she didn't stop and hold on? That's what she did, and I applaud her. Good job.
Drop and roll or stand up and take one for the team.
No, not taking one for the team. Not taking one for the team if it's going to make me crack up and go all crazy and get into a place where I'm in wraparound arms institute. Not doing it.
Not doing it. So what do you think? Tell us what side of this conversation most appeals to you. Are you on the
pro side
or are you on the cons? I got another question. What's up with all these folks giving us a hard time about eviction moratorium? Can't they pay their rent? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody need to get paid.
Yes, but there are people who are, because of the COVID situation, have not been able to. So you're just going to put women and children and families out in the street because they were impacted by COVID, and you're just going to put them in the street.
But these people that own their homes, they're saying, look, the mortgage company don't care. The mortgage company is calling my house talking about.
Show you right.
They want their money.
Show
so
right.
Somebody got to come up with their money. Somebody got to pay their rent because I got to pay my mortgage.
I understand all of that. As a landlord, I get it. But I'm grateful and thankful that people that are still out there hustling to make the ends meet, to make sure that they're paying their rent and their mortgage, I am grateful and thankful for them. But, I still feel that you have to have compassion on people who are not able to do it. I know they got to get out and get their money, but yet you could have a concession, some kind of way to help them get over the tide of this COVID virus and not put them in the street. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, with many of the homeowners, they're saying, I can't bake on them not paying their rent because I can't be broke, because I got to have, I need to have, I must have, and I want to have every nickel, dime, everything that's mine. I need my money.
And you in that money, money, money song, you in the money. I'm just tired of that. You in the money. People still need to have compassion. Dr. Lotus, what is wrong? Having compassion is not going to kill you.
You know what? Folks on my side of the discussion keep telling me this. I can have compassion. I can be passionate, but I got to be paid.
And you're right about that. There's a whole bunch of people on your side of the doggone fence saying that. But again, I am about compassion and having humility with people and helping them figure out how to get their money paid so I can get paid as a landlord. I understand that. So with that, what else you want to talk about? Because you just contrary. I'm just telling you, just contrary.
I just call it like I sees it on the side of the cons. I can't help it if people giving me great information to talk about the things that they don't want to talk about in front of nobody. But when they talk to me, they're willing to face the news through my voice and yours.
We're so grateful today for Face the News, where we are helping you face the news with global events around the world that are appearing in your what? Backyard. Thank you so much, Dr. Lotus. Riche, take us on home.
All right. Look, folks, we are so happy that you've been here with us all this time. We've had a phenomenal time. So get ready for our show. We just wanted to come and talk to you today, tell you a little bit about what's happening, give you a little dialogue, and let you know what to expect on our upcoming shows. And don't forget, we'll be here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving you news from all across the globe as we help you face
the
news. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you there, and keep facing the news. Good night.